Every bad decision that you've ever made is the result of one thing and one thing only, and that is your ability to control your emotions. My name is Marquez Pye, and for years, I let my emotions make all my decisions, and it affected my marriage. It cost me in my relationship with my kids, and it hurt me in business. And that's why now I help high performing fathers like you control their emotions so that they stop running, ruling, and wrecking your life. And in this video, I'm going to show you why you make decisions based on your emotions. And I'm going to help you build the strategy, the system, and the skills that you need to take back control of your emotions for good so that they no longer run, rule, and wreck your life. And if you're ready to reach your full potential and have success in every area of your life and not just some, then stick around because this video is definitely for you. One of my favorite Marvel movies is called Captain America: Civil War. And there's a character in that movie by the name of T'Challa. But most of us, we know him by the name Black Panther. He's the king of Wakanda, and he's one of the most powerful and intelligent men in the entire Marvel universe. Now, throughout almost the entire movie, he's hunting down Bucky Barnes, who's also known as the Winter Soldier. Why? Because he believes that Bucky murdered his father. Now, here's what I want you to understand. T'Challa had plenty of money, an abundance of resources, and lots of training, and a whole lot of skills. And like I said before, he was incredibly intelligent. But none of that mattered because his grief, his anger, his pain, and his thirst for revenge were making his decisions for him. He wasn't making decisions based on the truth. He thought he was, but he actually wasn't. He was making decisions based on how he felt. And the crazy part is, most of us, we do the exact same thing every single day. We make decisions based on how we feel. Then we try to use logic to justify them afterward. So why do we do this? Now, before I show you why this happens, I want to bust a myth that a lot of people believe. A lot of people think that just because someone is successful in one area of their life, that automatically means that they have it all together in every other area. But that's just not true. Just think about professional athletes. They are some of the most disciplined people on the planet. They train every day. They take tremendous care of their bodies. They can perform under pressure, and they make lots of money. Yet every year, you hear stories about DUIs and domestic violence, substance abuse, bad financial decisions, or careers ending too early because they couldn't control themselves. And they ended up making one bad decision that changed everything for them. And people always ask, how could someone with all that money do something so stupid? And there's a very simple answer for all of that. Just because they have talent, discipline, and intelligence, and money doesn't mean that they have the ability to control their emotions. Those are completely different skills. Let me use the Bible real quick to show you what I'm talking about. There's a man in there by the name of Samson. He's one of the strongest and most powerful characters in the whole Bible. An army couldn't stop Samson. A lion couldn't stop Samson. But Samson had a problem. He never learned how to control his emotions. So his lust and his desires ended up costing him everything. So the next question is, why does this keep happening to you? I want to show you my 5-step BS funnel. This is the framework that I use to explain why you make the decisions you make, why your emotions seem to keep controlling you, and why you keep ending up in the same place, even though you're trying extremely hard to change. Each step leads to the next. The first step is a believable story. Now, a believable story, it can be true, or it can be completely fabricated and made up. But here's the part that makes that believable story powerful in the first place. What makes it so powerful is what your brain does next. Once your brain believes a story, it writes a script. It creates a program. It creates a code that starts running in the background of your life. And from that point on, your brain starts making decisions, interpreting situations, and looking for evidence based on that script. The script becomes the default way that your brain responds to life. That script, it protected you when you were younger. It helped you survive. It kept you safe. But if you never update that script, it'll keep running long after you even need it. And what ended up protecting you in the past could be the very thing that's preventing you from reaching your full potential today. Maybe your parents got divorced. Maybe you used to get criticized all the time. Maybe you were abused. Maybe you were even abandoned. Maybe you felt like you were never good enough. Whatever it is that happened, Your brain wrote a story to try to make sense of all of that. And because that story was connected to some real pain, some real trauma, some real wounds, and real experiences, it became believable. And the more believable the story became, the more power that it had over your life. Now let's bring it full circle real quick and we'll pick up the story of T'Challa again. His believable story was that Bucky Barnes killed his father. That story felt like it was true. So every decision that he made, every emotion that he felt, and every action that he took in the movie, it aligned with that story, even though it wasn't actually true. And that's exactly what happens to us. Once your brain accepts that story, it builds a belief system around it. And those beliefs become the lens that you see the world through. Here's what's interesting about your beliefs. Beliefs are self-fulfilling. Your brain starts looking for evidence to prove your beliefs are true. So if you believe people can't be trusted, your brain notices every reason they can't be trusted. If you believe that you always have to be in control to protect yourself, your brain looks for every situation where you need to take control. If you believe that showing emotion is a sign of weakness, your brain reinforces that belief every chance that it gets. The story creates the belief, and the belief, it keeps proving the story to be true. Now let's say that your brain wrote a story that if I don't stay in control, I'll get hurt. That story ended up becoming a belief, and you adopt the belief that you always have to be in control. And once you believe that, you start making decisions that protect that belief. And that's where your bad strategy comes from. Your strategy always makes sense because it's based on what you believe. If you believe that showing emotion is a sign of weakness, your strategy becomes to suppress it, to ignore it, or to push through it every time you feel something. Now here's what happens next. A strategy is what you're trying to do. It's your blueprint, your plan. But a system is how you repeatedly do it. So if your strategy is to suppress your emotions, your systems become things like you making sure that you always stay busy, working longer hours than you have to, avoiding hard conversations, bottling everything up, always distracting yourself and trying to numb yourself from the pain and the emotion that you're feeling, doing whatever you have to do to avoid dealing with what's really going on in your life. And whatever system that you consistently practice over time will eventually lead to you building skills. And that's how you adopt and build bad skills. You become skilled at avoiding things. You become skilled at shutting down. You become skilled at overthinking. You become skilled at pretending that you're okay when you're really not. And that's how one story can quietly shape your entire life. But don't worry, there's good news. If you can change your story, you can change your beliefs. And if you can change your beliefs, then you can change your strategy. And if you can change your strategy, then you can build and implement better systems. And if you can build a better system, then you can develop the skills that you've been missing. And as those skills become a part of who you are, you'll start making better decisions more often. Instead of letting your thoughts, feelings, and emotions talk you into making decisions that you know you shouldn't make, that you'll end up regretting later, and that negatively impact every area of your life. Now, here's the thing. If you don't know what story that your brain has been running, you won't be able to change it because you can't change what you can't see. And if you can't change the story, you can't change the beliefs. You can't change the strategy. You can't change the system. And you can't build the skills that you actually need in order to prevent your thoughts, feelings, and emotions from running, ruling, and wrecking your life anymore. But don't worry, I got something that can help you with that. It's called the trauma background check. Think about it like this. When you hire someone for an important position or role, you run a background check on them first because you need to know their history before you can trust them with something important. So let me ask you a question. If you could run one on yourself, what do you think you will find? Don't you think it's time that you stop trying to fix the symptom and actually look for the source of all your problems? That's what this thing is designed to help you do. It's a free PDF and a custom GPT that I built to help you identify the stories, the wounds, the pain, and the trauma that have been running in the background of your life this whole time. And if you want it, all you gotta do is just click the link in the description and you can get it. And it's free, so you might as well grab it. Look, now that you know why this keeps happening, the next question that we have to answer is how do you actually change it? You have to change your strategy or your game plan. Then you'll need a new system. And when you consistently work that system, you'll naturally build the skills that you've been missing in order for you to control your emotions and make better decisions, which will ultimately lead to a better and more satisfying life. Think about it like building a house. What is the very first thing that you need when you want to build a house? Assuming that you already have the money. The first thing that you'll need is a blueprint. That's your strategy. Your strategy is your game plan. It's the plan that you have for your life. You have to decide what kind of man you want to become, what kind of life that you want to live, how you're going to handle pressure, how you're going to handle conflict, and if you're going to continue to let your thoughts, feelings, and emotions control you instead of you controlling them. But a blueprint is worthless by itself. The next thing you have to do is you got to lay the foundation. That's your system. Your system is what you consistently do day after day to turn your strategy into reality. Because if your old system was to suppress, ignore, or avoid your emotions by staying busy, working longer hours, distracting yourself, or looking for ways to numb yourself through things like video games, porn, alcohol, or maybe even drugs, then trust me, you need a new system. One that teaches you how to process your thoughts, your feelings, and your emotions instead of you pretending or acting like they don't exist. Because whatever system that you implement is going to determine how skilled you are at controlling your emotions. Everybody needs to improve their skills, and controlling your emotions is definitely a skill. Mental toughness, adaptability, fortitude, and resilience are all the skills that you need if you really want to take back control of your life. Just like nobody is born knowing how to lead a team, or how to communicate effectively and charismatically, or how to be a good marketer and a salesman, or knowing how to be a good parent, or even a good person for that matter. Nobody is born knowing how to control their emotions either. Those are all learned skills, and skills are developed over a period of time. As you consistently work your new and improved system, you will naturally build mental toughness, resilience, be able to adapt to any environment or situation, and fortitude. Those are the skills that allow you to stay in control and be able to pick yourself back up when you fall down. And as those skills become a part of who you are, you'll start making better decisions more often, instead of letting your thoughts, feelings, and emotions talk you into making decisions that you know you shouldn't make, that you'll end up regretting later, and that negatively impact every area of your life. That's how you're going to reach your full potential. And that's how you're going to improve your marriage, build a stronger relationship with your kids, lead your team with confidence, make better financial decisions, and have more peace. That's what happens when your thoughts, your feelings, and emotions stop running, ruling, and wrecking your life. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, I've tried to change before, I've read the books, I've watched the videos, I've listened to the podcast, but I still keep ending up in the same place no matter what I do, then I want to invite you to click the link in the description below to fill out the application to come work with me. It's an application for my inner circle called The FatherHood. It's for high-performing fathers who are tired of letting their thoughts, feelings, and emotions run, rule, and wreck their life. The program is designed to help you build the strategy, implement the right systems, and develop the skills necessary to take back control of your emotions so you can make better decisions, show up better for your wife, build a stronger relationship with your kids, lead your business with confidence, increase your income, find more peace, reach your full potential, and finally have success in every area of your life. If that sounds like something that you need, then click the link in the description and fill out the application right now. And if you end up being a good fit, we'll get to work immediately. Now look, YouTube thinks that it knows you better than your wife does, so it already picked out the next video for you. So all you got to do is just go over here and check it out. Remember, unbreakable fathers create unbreakable families. Peace.